In this video, we will demonstrate an adhered installation for IKO Commercial's InnoviTPO Single-Ply membrane. We will install the membrane over IKOTherm polyiso insulation boards. This training video is for general educational purposes only, intended for the exclusive use of professional roofers skilled in the installation of commercial roofing materials. This video is not intended to replace in-person training, manufacturer's installation and product directions, or the professional judgment to be exercised by the roofing contractor with respect to a particular project. Actual conditions encountered during installation may vary. By providing this video, IKO assumes no responsibility for quality of installation or workmanship, building code compliance, or job safety. IKO Commercial's InnoviTPO Single-Ply membrane features matrix performance weathering technology. This advanced thermoplastic polyolefin formulation utilizes breakthrough chemistry that underlies IKO InnoviTPO's ability to withstand ultraviolet and harsh climate conditions. IKO InnoviTPO is flexible and has excellent lay-flat characteristics, greatly enhancing the installation process with exceptional weldability within wide temperature windows. IKO Commercial's IKOTherm is a rigid polyisocyanurate foam insulation with high thermal properties, which can provide outstanding insulation protection and help reduce heating and cooling costs. InnoviBond membrane adhesive SPR is intended for use with IKO InnoviTPO roofing systems and is approved for use with an appropriate IKO Diamond Shield limited warranty. InnoviBond membrane adhesive SPR can be bonded to polyisocyanurate insulation, standard and high-density insulation boards, primed glass matte gypsum boards, OSB, plywood, metal, and clean concrete. The adhesive is applied to both the membrane and the substrate. Always follow local safety requirements when working with these types of products. Please visit IKO.com/COMM for more details about these and other IKO commercial products. Make sure you use the proper plates and correct length of fasteners for your installation method. Fasteners should be fully seated but never overdriven. Overdriving will result in plates cupping rather than lying flat. Use a properly adjusted clutch or depth sensing type of drill instead of a standard single-speed drill. Be careful not to break or compromise the facer on the IKOTherm insulation. Once the IKOTherm polyiso insulation is secure, you are ready to begin installing the InnoviTPO membrane. The substrate must be clean, dry, and free of debris and contaminants. Unroll the membrane and position the membrane sheet, starting at the lowest side of the roof, and roll the membrane out over the substrate and let it relax 15 to 30 minutes or as needed to compensate for any residual roll tension. You are now ready to begin preparing the InnoviBond membrane adhesive SPR. InnoviBond membrane adhesive SPR can be applied at an ambient temperature of 25 degrees Fahrenheit or -4 degrees Celsius and above. Adhesive canister temperature must be at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius prior to use for the product to spray properly. Utilize a hot box when necessary. You will need to shake the canister for a minimum of 30 seconds before use and will have to periodically shake the canister as you apply the product to help it flow properly. Attach the spray gun to the hose and then attach the hose to the InnoviBond membrane adhesive SPR canister. You will need to use a scrap piece of TPO membrane to test the membrane adhesive and set the spray pattern of the nozzle. Open the valve on the canister and check the connecting fittings for leaks. Once the valve has been turned on, do not turn the valve off until the adhesive canister is completely empty or proper cleaning is performed. Check the nozzle for damage, wear and tear, and proper alignment. Adjust the spray pattern fan by slowly adjusting the trigger lock to the desired pattern and locking when not in use. For this installation example, we will use the barn door method, where the membrane is folded over on itself to reveal the substrate. You can do this either lengthwise or widthwise, both of which are acceptable. In this installation reference, we will show the widthwise installation method. Spray the InnoviBond membrane adhesive SPR with the trigger fully open at a height of approximately 12 inches, about 300 millimeters, and a rate of approximately 12 inches per second to obtain the correct amount of adhesive in the spray pattern. Spray in a typical 8-inch or 200 millimeter fan pattern and overlap approximately 2 inches or 50 millimeters to ensure adequate adhesive coverage to deck substrate and membrane, keeping the spray tip approximately 1 foot away, about 300 millimeters, and perpendicular to the surface during spray. Avoid high thickness buildup. To test for application readiness, touch the adhesive surface with a clean, dry finger and pull it away to be certain that the adhesive does not stick or string. Push forward on the adhesive at an angle throughout the thickness of the adhesive. If wet or stringy adhesive is noted when you lift your finger, the adhesive is not ready and more flash-off time is required. Flash-off time will vary depending on ambient temperature, wind, and humidity. Once you have established that the membrane adhesive has properly flashed off, you are ready to adhere the membrane with the substrate. Starting at the fold, roll the portion of the membrane coated with adhesive into the adhesive-coated substrate. Roll slowly and evenly to prevent wrinkles and creases when adhering the membrane to the substrate. Repeat the process on the other half of the membrane, carefully folding it over back on the adhered part of the membrane to expose the substrate. Test to ensure that the membrane and substrate have properly bonded by gently tugging on the membrane to ensure that it does not come away from the substrate easily. Use a stiff push broom to apply pressure to the surface of the bonded half of the membrane to ensure proper adhesion. You are now ready to install the next sheet. Position it so that there is a 3-inch or 76 mm overlap to the first sheet. Then, repeat the steps to adhere the membrane to the substrate. Make sure that the area where you will apply the membrane is clean and free of debris to ensure good adhesion between the membrane and substrate. It is important to leave a 3-inch or 76 mm gap in the adhesive along the edge to the sheet that overlaps with the previous sheet to allow for the heat welding of the two sheets. This will ensure a watertight bond between them. Should you need to clean adhesive off of the membrane, simply use a clean, natural fiber cloth wetted with InnoviTPO membrane cleaner, using a scrubbing motion. Remember to change cloths frequently to avoid contaminating the membrane. Repeat the steps to adhere the membrane to the substrate as demonstrated previously. Remember to limit application to surfaces that will be covered with the membrane the same day. Once the second sheet is bonded and broomed, you are ready to weld the side laps. Weld all laps using a robot welder. Once you have properly calibrated the welder and successfully completed a test weld, set the welder in the starting position and follow it along, ensuring that it maintains a full weld of the end laps. Weld all side laps using the same procedure. To test the integrity of the weld, you will need to use a seam probe to run along the edge of the weld to identify any potential voids. If any are found, heat the membrane with a handheld seam welding gun and compress the weld with a silicone roller, moving back and forth parallel to the end of the welder nozzle. This brings us to the close of this installation reference video. For more information about this or any other IKO commercial product, or to find out more about the IKO Approved Applicator Program, please go to our website or contact your local IKO commercial representative for details.